Welcome to Out of Bounds, presented by Isaac's Roofing and Sheet Metal.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Maria Montgomery along with Dan Reefer and Alex Walker. Guys, as we begin this week, Kentucky sits alone atop the SEC standings.
You know, it wasn't pretty against Ole Miss. That thing went back and forth over the final few minutes, but it doesn't matter how you win as long as you win.
Yeah, which is something Auburn and LSU did not do on Saturday, giving UK sole possession of first place, or number one, for now, because the Cats visit the Bayou Bengals on Tuesday, and they cannot afford to have a first half like they did against Ole Miss down in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, let's look at the first half briefly, because it's not easy on the eyes. Kentucky took 13 three-point shots in that opening half, missed the first 12. It wasn't until Johnny Juzang connected with 36 seconds to go before halftime that the Cats saw one drop from beyond the arc.
Emmanuel Quickly was 1 for 9 shooting, 0 for 5 from 3 in that first half. Nick Richards also struggled. Ashton Hagans was 1 for 5. He had just 1 assist to 3 turnovers. Kentucky as a team had 9 turnovers at the break. Yuck. And UK was 30% from the field. Here's Coach Cal on that frustrating first half.
What I said is you're 1 for 13 from the 3, and not one of them contested. You've missed 9 one-foot shots. You're 1 for 10 from 3 feet, and you're in the game. You're down 2. So let's go. I mean, basically what I said. And then we didn't want to throw Nick the ball because he couldn't catch the ball. The guy muscled him. Couldn't get it, couldn't make it. If they blew on him, he was throwing his head around, and I said, we were going to go back to our guards. It's not your day, Nick.
Well, most of Kentucky's top plays came in the second half. Here they are, presented by Kentucky Greenleaf.
Yeah, UK shot 48% in the second half. You heard Calipari say it was not Nick Richards' day. Well, he had 12 points and 5 rebounds in the second half on 4 of 5 shooting and a perfect 4 for 4 from the free throw line with the game on the line.
And Emmanuel quickly began to find his shot and was clutch at the free throw line down the stretch. He winds up with 14 second half points. Tyrese Maxey scored 10 in the second half, and Hagans had just 1 turnover after halftime.
This is the play of the game right here, courtesy of E.J. Montgomery, who fought for his 8th rebound of the game off Maxey's miss. He then gets it to Maxey for a tough bucket with 1:38 to go to give the Cats a 1-point lead. This game had 9 lead changes over the final 5 minutes.
And in those last 5 minutes, Kentucky was a perfect 10 for 10 at the charity stripe. So despite going 2 for 22 from 3, UK won it at the line and in the paint, outscoring Ole Miss 32-20 down low, and on the boards 41-33. The Cats now 17-0 when out-rebounding their opponent.
And here now are the post-game comments sponsored by the Bob Allen Motor Mall.
This was like a rock fight. Ended up being a great win. You know, do you shoot 2 for 22? And I can't imagine how many one-footers we missed, but a bunch, and still win the game. I'm happy as heck. Move on, next game. I'll say it again, these kids are not computers and they're not robots. This is not a fantasy league. This is not on a computer. This is real stuff. They don't play great every night, but you can play to win. You don't have to play great every night. And you can get pushed around for 3/4 of the game, but the last part of the game, you play to win. What does this team need me to do?
It's big for us to win a game like that, you know, to be able to win without making shots, relying on our bigs and just our penetration, and really on our defense. I mean, we gave up 61, 62, 61, 60 points.
Now, had Kentucky lost that game, it would have been a big blow to the Cats' tournament resume, but they survived.
And they have an important stretch coming up that we'll discuss a bit later. Plus, it was a pretty big weekend for UK football. Vince Marrow turning down Michigan State to stay here. We're going to get into that shortly.
But next, we're going to take you around the SEC to recap Saturday's chaos and the UK women's basketball team with a big home game against number 6 Mississippi State. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Out of Bounds. The UK women's basketball team has had a week to stew over that loss last Sunday at Arkansas. Today brought a big bounce-back opportunity against 6th-ranked Mississippi State.
The Wildcats 7-4 in the SEC entering today, tied for 4th in those conference standings. They were down 6-0 early, but the Cats went on a 12-0 run. That's Chastity Patterson. She scored 15, then right before the end of the half, out of the quarter. Ryan Howard from 25 feet.
Barbecue chicken.
Yep, Cats up 10 after 1. Howard would stay spicy hot from downtown. Just about automatic from 3. Kentucky up 3 at the break. Third quarter, Howard, she's only a sophomore, guys. Over 1,000 points already for her career.
Jeez.
Then it's Jada Roper from 3.
Oh,
How did that go in?
shooter's roll.
Kentucky outscoring State 22-9 in the third quarter. Then it's Howard again, 26 points, 10 rebounds. First top 10 win for Kentucky since beating the Dogs in 2017 at 73-62 was the final score.
Memorial Coliseum looked to be shaking right
A little
there.
shaky.
Sure did.
No earthquakes, though. It's all good. Yeah.
Well, now we turn our attention back to the men and another wild Saturday in the SEC. And with everything that happened, Kentucky comes out the big winner of the weekend.
Yeah, Alabama had an 18-point second-half lead, but that lead down to 2 late. The Tide's Herb Jones, playing with a cast on his left hand. He's left-handed, sinks a pair of critical free throws one-handed, and get this, he grabbed 17 rebounds. Bama beats the Bayou Bengals, which have now lost 3 of their last 4 to fall to 9-3 in SEC play. The Tide go to 6-6.
If I had one hand, I'd be out of commission for like a month. But that's all right. And there was an even bigger upset in the SEC Saturday. Mizzou, which was 10-13 entering this game, takes down Auburn 85-73. Auburn goes 1 for 17 from 3. Meanwhile, those Tigers from Columbia got 28 apiece from Xavier Pinson and Drew Smith. Auburn star freshman Isaac Okoro was out with a hamstring injury. Auburn is now 9-3. Mizzou 4-8.
And this is how Mississippi State handed Arkansas its 4th straight loss. A tip-in at the buzzer by Abdul Adu, which was his only field goal of the game. The Hogs have not won since losing Isaiah Joe to injury. They fall to 4-8. The Bulldogs now 7-5.
In South Carolina, still on the bubble, rallying from down 7 with under 8 to play. And Mike Kotsar hit the game-winning free throws for the Gamecocks, which improved to 8-4. Yes, an 8-4 now in conference play. Where'd that come from? Suddenly, UK's loss there doesn't look so bad. And Tennessee, by the way, 500 at 6-6.
Florida welcomed back former coach Billy Donovan, who led the Gators to back-to-back national championships, and named the court after him. Then Florida ran Vandy off that court, 84-66. The Gators 8-4 in conference. Doors 1-11.
And Georgia fans are hitting the bourbon hard. They must be losing their minds over this team. The Bulldogs continue to build leads and lose them. This time, a 9-point halftime lead turns into a 5-point loss at Texas A&M. So kind of like when LSU missed the tournament with Ben Simmons, Georgia is going to miss the tourney with the potential top pick in the NBA draft, Anthony Edwards, who is battling the flu in this game, by the way. The Dogs now 2-10 in the league play. The Aggies 6-6.
Tom Crean on the hot seat.
Yeah, he is. That's for sure.
So, as we mentioned earlier, Kentucky is now alone in first place in the conference at 10-2, but the Cats hold on first. But the Cats hold on first will get tested right away with a trip to Baton Rouge Tuesday.
Yes, a loss to LSU Tuesday would give the Tigers and the Cats a tie for first place. Then UK's back home Saturday against the Gators. Then the Saturday after that, Auburn at Rupp Arena. The final Saturday of the regular season at Florida. Certainly UK cannot overlook that trip to Texas A&M and a visit from Tennessee. Coach Cal, your thoughts on that schedule?
Now we got the rest of the road for us. Woof. Woof. Ellen says that. That's Ellen's word. Woof.
Let's hear you try it. What do you got?
Whew.
That's it. Yeah.
Is that good enough?
Yeah, I think you got
coach?
it. Yep.
All right.
You got it.
Nailed it.
Kentucky's best non-conference wins this season: Michigan State, Louisville, and Texas Tech. Those did not do the Cats any favors Saturday because all 3 lost.
Yeah, where'd that come from? And it was a really bad week for Louisville. The Cards entered the week as a projected NCAA tournament number 2 seed. That's no more. And ended the week with a pair of losses to Georgia Tech and Clemson. U of L star, its Player of the Year candidate, Jordan Nora, was awful in both of those games. 2 points against Tech and only 5 against the Tigers. Now the Cardinals are no longer in first in the ACC, and they may fall from number 5 to add to the top 10 when the new AP poll comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, I know Kentucky fans, some anyway, like seeing Louisville lose, but really the better Louisville is come tournament time. You know, that's the better for UK's seeding. I mean, you look at Michigan State, not in the top 25 anymore. Texas Tech was just barely in there, probably back out after Saturday's loss. That win at Arkansas, that's getting less impressive by the week.
And the good news is that the metrics still have Michigan State, Louisville, and Texas Tech all in the top 20 in the net rankings, even after those recent losses. The bad news is, it's always bad news, UK was number 24 in the net before beating Ole Miss and has dropped a spot to 25 after winning a game, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
It does not make sense.
Doesn't add up to me.
No.
Yeah. All
Bad
right.
math.
That's right. Well,
Change the graphics, yeah. I don't know. Metrics are weird there.
well, coming up next on Out of Bounds, we're going to talk UK football and hear from Vince Marrow on his big decision this week. But next, Twitter Fire brings us former Wildcats making a splash on NBA All-Star Weekend. Welcome back to Out of Bounds. It's NBA All-Star Weekend in Chicago, and a couple former Wildcats got a lot of exposure on Saturday night. It's time for Twitter Fire, brought to you by C2G Environmental.
Bam Adebayo is having a breakout season for the Miami Heat, being named an All-Star for the first time in his career this season. And on Saturday night, he won the Skills Challenge against the Pacers' Domantas Sabonis.
So then Bam tweeted, "So, how's Vegas handling this?" Why did he tweet that, you may wonder? The field of 8 for the Skills Challenge, Adebayo was the longest shot on the board at 12-to-1 odds. So if you had 10 on Bam to win, you got $120 right back.
Not a bad investment.
Goodness. Well, I also like this tweet of Bam. He says that's how he got his nickname. When he was a kid, he lifted a table or something like that, and his mom started calling him Bam after the Flintstones character.
Bam, 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 bam. Now, in the three-point shootout, former Cat Devin Booker racked up 27 points in the first round, advanced to the final round, posted 26 points. It nearly held up, but Buddy Hield beat him by 1 on his last shot. That would have been pretty nice, though, for two former Wildcats to take 2 of 3 events on All-Star Saturday night.
Yeah, the third event, the dunk contest, went to the Heat's Derrick Jones Jr., but many fans believed Aaron Gordon should have won after dunking over 7'5" Taco Fall. You'll see it right here. Gordon said he felt he got robbed and said he won't be back to do another dunk contest.
Well, he didn't really fully clear Taco.
He's like 7.
But he gets points for those pants, I feel like Taco does.
The straight pants.
Yeah. All right, and then did you guys see this? Rex Chapman tweeted out a reminder of when he competed in the NBA dunk contest. What do we give him on this dunk, guys? You think 9? You think 10?
Watch the replay right here. It gives you a better sense of what he did. He threw it over his back and then reverse jammed it. In slow-mo, it looks a lot cooler.
I'd 10. I think that's a 10. I think that would hold up today.
Yeah, that was wild.
I mean, level of difficulty.
And he invented that dunk, didn't he? That was his brand new
That's what he said,
creation. So that was
he
pretty
invented
cool.
one, yeah.
Well done, Rex.
All right, well, coming up next on Out of Bounds, the big dog is staying in Lexington. We hear from Vince Marrow on how hard it was to turn down Michigan State and why he did. The UK football program had to fend off another suitor for ace recruiter Vince Marrow this week. Michigan State hired Mel Tucker as its new head coach. Tucker and Marrow are close friends, which Marrow said made it that much more difficult to make his decision.
It was very, very, very hard. We very close. It was very hard. But I'm also close to, the redhead guy too, and we grew up together, and it was just hard. I can't put it no other way. It was very hard. He really wanted me, and they really made an effort, and it was just hard. Like I said, the last 3 days. You get money and a raise, but I wouldn't wish that on nobody. It was especially when it's 2 friends. Now I know how recruits feel when they're down to 2 schools, and one day it's this school, the next day it's that school. Anything can trigger it, but I just got to say, the 8 years spent here really invested and really meant something, and that really played a big part, and our administration. I'm not just throwing that out. This is a good administration to work for.
Yeah, I wouldn't wish a raise on either one of you guys either.
Yeah,
tough.
thanks.
Because as I understand it, Michigan State came to Marrow with an offer that was a significant pay raise above what he was making at UK. Then UK countered with an offer for about the same money Michigan State was bringing to the table. But then Michigan State came back again, backing up the Brinks truck, an even bigger offer. Marrow was asked what those discussions with Mark Stoops were like during all of this.
That's probably something. They ought to do a 30 for 30 on when coaches and about to leave and you go through them conversations because they ain't always pretty. I mean, they're tough. But I will say this. I am very close to him. I actually think you take friendship for granted both ways, and there's no doubt in my mind that he's a real good friend first. And he shared with me why he did not want to lose me, and it would have been hard to leave him too. We pretty close. I mean, it's not like that in the coaching business. It's all about business. But where we from is a very smart, small town, and you know, his uncle sent me a text that kind of like shifted the thing. It was kind of like a mafia guy sending you a text like saying, "Hey, you better keep your butt there." And it was all jokes. But I really appreciated Uncle Bob, his dad's brother, sent me a real touching text. So, no, I love Mark, but you know, we still in a business. And did our friendship play a big part in this? Yes, it did. Because anywhere else for what Michigan State offered, I think probably would have, a lot of other coaches would have took it. But with my relationship with him, and like I say again, this is not a sell pitch, my relationship with the community really, really played a part in this, and administration.
And there you go. Now, speaking of the administration, what if UK had said, sorry, we just can't afford to keep you, Vince? Imagine the optics on that. You think about where UK football has come since Stoops and Marrow arrived in Lexington. That new football facility, all of that, coming up with the cash to keep Marrow sends a strong message about UK's commitment to football moving forward.
I talked to a prominent, one of the top coaches in college football last night, and he said, you know, he was very, just watched us and said, you guys really got that thing going, and then for, you know, Kentucky to make the investment, you know, to keep me here, he said, you guys are really going in the right direction. He said, it says a lot about your administration.
Well, the last part of this is the message that it sends to recruits. That's what it's all about. So that's why Michigan State wanted Marrow so badly.
Yeah, I mean, there was an article recently that was about how Michigan State's decline can be directly correlated to Kentucky's increased success in recruiting Ohio. Those players the Spartans used to get, Kentucky's now getting instead, thanks to Marrow and Stoops' connections in the state.
I don't care who I'm recruiting against. It could be my brother. The message is, you know, we gonna keep our foot in Ohio, and we gonna win there. I mean, I think it's probably a little more intense now because the way this thing played out, but to me, it's just going to be a thing where we have to keep really recruiting Ohio hard. I mean, a lot of people see the success we have, and a lot of other schools. Just like I was at the high school clinic last week, and a lot more SEC schools were there because they saying, man, Kentucky really got players there. Well, we should get them too. And so we got to keep our footprint there.
Well, stick around for a little humor coming up next in our Coach's Corner. And now we finish with one of our favorite coaches when it comes to humor, former Washington State, now Mississippi State coach Mike Leach. And here is our Coach's Corner, brought to you by West Shore Home.
Yeah, this is actually a tweet from Coach Leach that reads, your chances of being killed by a raccoon are low, but never zero. I mean, this guy always delivers. He's going to be so much fun to cover in the SEC to follow him.
Something like that. But he's not wrong.
No, he's not.
That raccoon was looking a little...
Well, you can run over a raccoon and then hit the ditch and poof, it's gone. You're over.
See you next week.